So I just opened everything in the toolkit, and now I have put all the cards in neat little piles. Got everything that's not in the four selections that are topped by prophetic prism. I've got white, blue, black, red, green, artifacts, vehicles, colorless creatures like the Eldrazi. So that's my selection that I'm going to pick from. I've already ordered them. The top is creatures, then sorceries, instants, and then enchantments and enchantment auras. So I'm going to take all these out to the side, okay, and then start going through each selection as I take out one of these groups topped by prophetic prism and see what kind of a deck I can build. So as soon as one of these is done, then they're kind of go into the general population, if you will. And then the next video that I do, I'm just going to have them all mixed in one big batch. So let's just pick the first selection. This was the green and black selection. So I'm going to put them here. Uh, so whatever can go in this deck, okay, is green, black, or colorless. So here's black, here's green, then here's colorless. Of course, so white, red, and blue are out. Okay, so now I go through and I pick out anything that's got a color that is not these two colors in the artifacts. I'm going to keep green. I'm not going to keep blue, so I'm going to put it with the blue cards. I'm going to keep the assemblers. Of course, this one, and this one's got blue, so it's out. And then some of these are kind of flavored for other colors, but I'll keep them anyways. So I'm going to set these aside. This one's definitely a pick. I'm definitely going to build to this card because it's a green-red creature. I'm sorry, green-red, never mind. What am I talking about? It's not in there. This is green-black. Okay, so now I take my green creatures. I want to see if I can get all the way to a 24 count because I want to build constructed decks with these. So I'm going to do the magic 24, 12, 24. 24 creatures, 12 non-creatures, and 24 lands. So let's pick out all the creatures and put them in one. Now it's going to be a pile of combined cards. Okay, we're no longer going to use that. So out of this selection that I have, that's all green-black, I'm going to pick out the creatures and put them in the pile. Okay, enchantment, creature. So let's go look at our creatures. So now I'm going to take all the creatures in my pile and count. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 29. So 5 of these cards need to go. So now I rank them by mana. All the fatties go down here. 1 drop, 3 drop, 2 drop, 1 drop. Because that's how I'm going to make my selections. Not the smartest selection, but again, if you're a new player, you don't really care about the fine points of picking something of a higher mana because it's good. So really the 1 drops, the 2 drops, and the 3 drops are kind of in because you want your deck to flow. So here I have 5 cards that are definitely in. I'm going to verify that it's out of color. It's nice that I have 2 skeletons because I can return them from the graveyard. I've got a nice Death Touch 1 drop that's always very good. And this thing can be transformed into a 4/4, so that's also very good. So I've got 5 1 drops. I'm going to set them aside. Then I'm going to go to my 2 drops, and I see that I have 7. That's a really good number also. Okay. This one's going to get late game a 6 mana boost. That's really nice. Then this one, it's an other humans. I mean, it's not going to give anything to many of these cards because they're not humans. But if you're a new player, you're just going to play it and you're going to forget about that clause. And to you, it's just a bear. 2/2/2. Then I've got these black creatures. I've got a nice zombie, which is, another zombie bear. 2/2/2. The rats, which are going to have energy, but we're not going to do a great deal of energy stuff so far from what I've seen in the cards. So there you have it. So I think I'm not seeing any cards that I can drop already. So these are my once and 2 drops. Then let's go through our 3 drops. This one's obviously in with Delirium. I'm not sure we're going to go crazy on Delirium because for Delirium you really want to lower your count of creatures so you can have more of the other types of cards. The Rhino, the Bat. When it dies, you put a counter on something. You have a discard outlet that's also very good. Although I haven't seen any madness yet. So, but it's always nice to have a discard outlet in a green-black deck. So I guess all these could be in. This one's definitely in. But I could even see picking something bad out of the 3 drops just to keep something good in the heavier drops. So whenever a permanent you control transforms into a non-human creature, you gain life. That's not so bad. Very defensive. You're going to want this because it's got trample and it's a 6/6/6. Pretty big. And it says one of the most important clauses for a beginning player. Whenever something happens, you don't care what it is, you may draw a card. That's totally awesome. You got to have this guy in there no matter what. Your Nightmare is not going to fit in because your Nightmare gets big only on the number of swamps and you're doing a 2-color deck. I'd take it outright. So then something with Reach, that's good because your opponent may have flyers. This gets you a land. This gets you Trample and a token. This one gets you Delirium, but again, I think it's going to be pretty hard to hit Delirium with this deck. The Vampire is definitely in. Then target player can discard a card. That's not bad. And another Delirium. So we got 2 4-drops in here that we have to think about. So I think I'm going to keep all the 2 drops and keep that heavy, knowing that it's going to be in. So let me do a count. So far I have 4, 8, 12, 16, 18. So I need 6 more. Okay, and I've got in here 6 because I dropped 3. So I don't know where I went off. I thought I was going to be dropping 5. Let me do another count. 4, 8, 12, 16, 18. 24. That's it. That's my creature count. So these are in, and these are the 3 that are out for good reasons. Swamp centered, gain life, don't bother. Not in this deck. And yeah, you may get a non-human, you may transform something, but you're not, it's not like you have 10 transforming creatures. You're not going to get to see this hardly ever. Okay, so that is our creatures. Oh, I forgot these 2. That's why I knew I was off by 2. Yeah, you're not going to hit Delirium. You don't need these guys. Okay, so now 4. Okay, so now we have enchantments, enchantments. This you're going to want for sure. Okay, this is a tutor. Tutors are great. You're going to want that. You're going to want you're going to want your opponent to discard cards. You want that. And you're going to want to draw cards, and you have 2 of them, and you're going to use them. You're going to want to kill something that your opponent has. Very nice card. I'm not sure about any of these. Prey Upon is great because you can fight something off and take it out of commission. You want that. You're going to want to boost It's an artifact set, so you don't want to kill artifacts. I really, really wish this was naturalized, but it isn't. Tokens. Think this is good. Reminds you of Mulch way back in the original Innistrad. So these are second look cards. This is your second Mulch. Not sure you want to do this all the time because your opponent may have a bunch of big stuff. Enchant something for a +3/+3. That's not bad. So I think these are kind of like maybes, but these are definitely. I'm gonna still leave this as a maybe, even though it's messing with the autofocus. I only need 12 in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I got to pick 2 from this pile because I got 10 right here. I may want to see how good my delirium count would be. So I got 3 sorceries, several. I've got a good bunch of sorceries and instants. I don't see any enchantments. So I think I'm going to pick the 2 cards that I'm going to pick are all going to be enchantments. I don't see anything super amazing on the remaining cards that I have. Yes, you can put a lot of counters, but you're not really doing a counters deck. Yes, you can play this battle trick. Hard battle trick to have in your main deck. So out of these, I would like to use this one. And let me see what this one does. You put the top card of your library into your graveyard. You're not really in a full-blown Delirium deck. I'm not sure you really want this. So I would say of these, this is a very low drop, takes out something small. I would say that's not bad. And then just because I want to make sure, since I'm not too crazy about hitting Delirium, I'm going to go back to the other non-enchantments that I got rid of and do a second evaluation. Don't see anything in here that I really, really want. Target creature gets +1/+1. That's not. Nah, that's kind of lame. Escalate. You discard a card. You don't. It's not bad to have a sack outlet. Let's read what this baby says. Okay, so you're gonna get to see one or more of these. I like this card a lot, so I'm gonna say dead weight. You're out. And so these are my 12. I'm gonna count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that, my friends, is our green-black deck. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the cards. There are 36 cards, 24 creatures, 12 non-creatures. Now, I want to know what my mana curve looks like when I put everything together. Okay, so that's what I'm worried about. Now, I want to make sure that I'm hitting a good mana curve. I see a lot of 1-drops and 2-drops and 3-drops, so I already know that I'm in good shape. The heavier stuff is back here. Okay, so 2-drop, 3-drop, 2-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 2, 1, more 3s, a 4, a 4, a 5, another 4, a 5, 4. Okay, so that's not bad. I don't have a lot of really heavy stuff. And I've got good selection of 3-drops. 3, 6, 9, 10, 12 3-drops. And as you already saw, I have a really good selection of 1-drops and 2-drops. So now I'll show you what the deck looks like as I go through the drops. So Prey Upon is going to allow me, once I have a card in the battlefield, to use it. It's a sorcery speed, so I can only use it on my turn when I start the game. But if I have like a 5/5 on the field and my opponent has a 3/3, I can play this and kill it off as long as my opponent doesn't have Death Touch, in which case I'll lose it. Okay. Now I never got to the artifacts. I just realized, and that could have been a mistake because this guy is pretty good. So I think I'm going to change my mind. Oh, and this one has draw a card. I didn't want to use the assemblers. This guy gives me flying, so that's good. So I'm going to put it in. This guy gives me better mana base. I'm not sure if any one of these two vehicles is going to give. This one's going to give me flying, so it's good. And this one's pretty good too. But I think I may want to keep this one. So now I have to go back. See, I forgot a little something, friends. So now I have to think about what do I want to do with these cards. That's the count. These needs to be exchanged for creatures, 1 for 1. So one is a 5, one is a 3, and one is a 2. So I'm going to go through and see what creatures can I get rid of that are lame. I want this guy. I want that guy. This guy is lame as a 5-drop if I substitute him 1 for 1 by the Wonder. This guy is a 4-drop. That's okay. So I'm looking for 2 drops and 3 drops to take out. Target player discards a card as a 4-drop. I think this one's kind of weak when I compare it to the familiar, even though the familiar it's a 3. Yeah, it is a 3-drop. Okay, good. So the familiar goes in. Then at the 2 drops, for the true drops, I want to get rid of something that I think is not as good as something with Death Touch. This guy was the guy, because I'm not doing humans. You're out, buddy. See you. Okay, so now that's fine. Then when it comes to the non-creatures, I've got 2 in here. I like this having flying. Green-black decks need flying, incredibly enough. Every deck, I think, needs flying, unless you're playing mono-red, red deck wins. So I'm going to find 2 non-creature cards and take them out for those 2. So I think this one is a nice boost. I want to keep it. I guess this one, I want to get rid of one of these. And then, okay, so I have card draw, discard, destruction, destroy artifact enchantment. So I think in this range, I would say I'll get rid of the Mind Rot and put in the Sky Skiff. I'm not really fully playing a discard deck, even though it's a nice ability, but card draw, in my opinion, is always better than discard, making your opponent discard, especially if your opponent has nothing to discard. But if you can always draw. So okay, so that's my final deck. Sorry, friends, I forgot about the artifacts, even though we have an artifact block that Kaladesh is in. So that's the deck. Let me go through it quickly, just without mentioning the cards. If you've hung out long enough, you'll see that got some good 1-drops, graveyard interactions for green-black. Can boost things as a nice trick. Can dig. Of course, many abilities here. This may be a junk rare, but if you're learning how to play, this could be a lot of fun. It's got a lot of options, and it's a discard outlet, which is good in a green-black deck. Put a counter on something. Can gain flying, bear, some energy, which I don't really see a great way of doing a lot of energy things in here, neither with Delirium. But this definitely is a great card in this deck, because you can really scare your opponent if you have 1 open green mana and this thing is on the battlefield. It may want to make them think twice before losing their big beefy attacker to this little thing. Stability and mana, a flyer, draw cards, destroy something, and you don't need to know what it is. So that's really good. It's not like destroy creature with power or whatever. Just destroy a creature, man. You're out. Our battle cruiser Naturalize, not bad for enchanting something permanently. You're never going to really hit Delirium in this deck, I don't think, but you're going to try. Some energy, I don't think that's worth much here, but a flyer, put a counter on something, a discard outlet, another flyer, something that can draw a card. Always look for this. Draw a card. Just keep drawing. Search for a land. That's very good. Tutor, fantastic reprint. Trample with another token, very nice. This can win you a game against a friend if you're both new players, because if you give a flying and your opponent has no flyers, you're in. If you give a flying and lifelink, boy, are you winning. That's really nice. Great classic. You're always going to want it. It's a flyer, 5/4/4, and this can draw your cards. And I've seen it played, and I've played it, and it's really good. So there you have it, folks. That was a very long video. If you stuck along long enough, that is our first of the Prophetic Prism topped little selections. I turned that into a black green deck.